Many thanks for joining us on KTN Prime. Meresha Owiti is a sign language interpreter.
Now, the Kenya National Union of Teachers is now warning parents to brace for a paralysis of learning when school reopens unless new basic education regulations are degazetted.
NAT insists that the regulations which give the Education Cabinet Secretary powers over school heads is unconstitutional.
However, Education CS Professor Jacob Kaimanyi remains unshaken, saying it may be a little too late for teachers' unions opposed to the new measures.
Put your hands down like this.
The newly gazetted basic education regulations have once again put the Ministry of Education and teachers' unions at loggerheads. The main bone of contention, a measure that teachers' unions say give the Education Cabinet Secretary powers to discipline school heads over financial mismanagement.
And you cannot colonize head teachers ikiwa Kenya National Union of Teachers inaangalia tu hivi.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimanyi maintains the unions got it all wrong since the powers to discipline teachers lie with the Teachers Service Commission.
In the event, for example, and it's very clear, it is established through an audit report, there is misappropriation of resources of an institution, then I have a choice to withdraw the delegated authority so that appropriate disciplinary action can be taken by the Teachers Commission, not the minister.
But teachers' unions will hear none of that.
The Cabinet Secretary for Education don't play with fire.
Amekanyaga mkia wa nyoka hatari. Tutamuuma pabaya.
NAT says it was not consulted over the regulations. Professor Kaimanyi has a different story.
4 times we consulted. These very people who are telling you they are there with me in a meeting, Coopet, NAT and others.
And when he talks about the majority of the stakeholders, who are the majority of the stakeholders in education? It is teachers. Teachers form 95%.
2 unions, and 2 unions don't represent the entire nation.
NAT now wants Professor Kaimanyi to withdraw the Gazette notice or have learning paralyzed when schools reopen for the second term.
Revoke all those Gazette notices immediately and call us for a discussion.
Basi wazazi wasitulaumu kama shule hazikufunguliwa wamlaumu Kaimanyi.
But Professor Kaimanyi remains unshaken.
The train has left the station.
For years, teachers' salaries have shaped battles between the Ministry of Education and teachers' unions. Now, with both sides standing their ground over the new regulations, teachers' unions have opened a new battlefront. Rita Tinina, KTN.
Let's focus on that story by Rita Tinina. 2 very hard lines there, of course, by the unions and the CS Education. Parents and children stand to lose in all this. That's why tonight, on a big question you're asking, should Kaimanyi back down to avert the teachers' strike? And
you can join the conversation on the latest impasse between the teachers and the government by SMSing your yes or no opinion to the number 22155. You can join that conversation on Twitter at Ben_Kitili, at Linda Ogutu, and at KTN Kenya. Shall be sampling some of your views. Our Christian and Muslim leaders in the country have reacted sharply to the 10-day amnesty offer given by the government to youth who have been lured by the Al-Shabaab. Muslim leaders called for an extension of the amnesty period to 1 month, but the National Council of Churches of Kenya say they are surprised by the blanket amnesty given to such youth. Now, KTN's Notiano has been following this story, and these reports, government has today followed up the amnesty offer with a promise that no one will be victimized after surrendering to the authorities.
It is just hours after the Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiseri offered a 10-day amnesty to youth who may have been misled into joining the Al-Shabaab. An amnesty that would require them to report to the county commissioners in Nairobi, Mombasa and Garissa counties. Mombasa County Commissioner Nelson Marwa is one of the county commissioners the youth are expected to surrender to. And he says the government issued the amnesty call in good faith, and Kenyans, specifically the youth, have nothing to worry about the program that will involve all stakeholders.
The government is not going to harass them up. We are going to ensure that wamekuwa handled kwa njia nzuri, halafu wale watasarenda ndani ya kipindi cha siku 10. Hakuna victimization. Even hardcore criminals, wale ambao wanasumbua walete bunduki zile wanaweka kwa bega, let them come forward. Yeah, wachukue advantage. Amnesty ya His Excellency the President.
The war on terror, he says, will see the government involve all leaders, if only to save the young men and women who may have been radicalized.
So every leader, religious leaders, sheikhs, SUPKEM, KEMNAK, CIPK, bishops, if you want to win this kind of war, you got to involve everybody.
The Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, on the other hand, has weighed in on the matter. They say the intention of the amnesty may be good, but its implementation may not work. Trust, they say, is the issue.
That the returnees not only surrender to the provincial administrators and security agents, but to also reputable village elders, sheikhs, imams, priests, and officials of human rights organizations.
The Muslim leaders say the amnesty will only be effective if the man in charge of the interior docket extends the amnesty period. That way, they say, the government stands a better chance of getting a big number of youth, some of whom may be beyond the Kenyan borders. But the National Council of Churches of Kenya is not so happy with the amnesty offer.
That the period be raised from 10 days to 30 days. 2, that the amnesty be a true amnesty without victimization.
The amnesty comes just days after the government froze a number of accounts linked to suspected terror supporters. The turn of events has received very divergent views from the Christian leaders on one hand and the Muslim leaders on the other.
Kuna mashekhi wengine wamesimama kidete na watu wanaopinga Al-Shabaab na wakatoa maisha yao wakipambana na hawa. Hatujaiona jambo bofu uliofanywa na washekhi wengine, majina zao zimeongezwa katika hizo majina za wale ilisemekana wanasaidia Al-Shabaab.
Radicalization began in Kenya. Kenyans have not seen any clergy involved in radicalization that SUPKEM and other Muslim religious leaders have denounced and publicized and given to government and said these ones are responsible.
The Christian leaders are also angry with the majority leader, Adan Duale.
We therefore demand that northeastern politicians under the leadership of Adan Duale quickly avail to government the information they have on Garissa massacre and terror networks in the country.
Today is the first day of the 10-day amnesty period given by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, and hope is rife that by the end of it all, young men and women will surrender to their respective offices and begin the rehabilitation program. Not in KTN Prime.
All right, if you're a parent, this next story should make you very happy. Remember that story we had yesterday of baby Jeremy? It was joy and celebration at the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital after 4-month-old baby Jeremy Osiana finally left for home. Yesterday, KTN aired the plight of his family that was unable to pay the hospital bill, leading to a 4-month detention of the baby at the facility. Betty Kialo is still on this story and has the details.
It gave us sleepless nights to have our children in that.
It was a special day for Olivia Osidiana. She could hardly hold back the tears because finally, after what she describes as a painful 4 months, she could take her son Jeremy home. Jeremy had stayed in hospital since his birth date. He was born with some breathing complications. However, after regaining his health, he was detained at the hospital for close to 4 months as the family could not raise money to offset the bill. However, a day after KTN aired his family's plight, officials at the Nakuru County government came to his rescue. The speaker, through the county's emergency fund, gave Jeremy's mother a 591,000 shillings check to clear the bill.
We were not able to waive. That was the first thing we would have wanted to do, but because it's a private institution, it's a private hospital, we could not waive, but we had to raise the amount that was needed so that the baby could be released.
Never spent a night with my baby. Sijaika naye hivyo, muka naye tu mchana na usiku nilikuwa nikaenda nyumbani. But now I'm taking my baby home to his family where he belongs. There's no such a feeling. I'm very happy.
Hours after clearing with the hospital, mother and baby would get home where family and friends were waiting for them.
Happy. My family and friends have really called me. I'm overwhelmed by calls.
Baby Jeremy's father says he tried everything possible to get his baby home.
He did fundraising na zilikuwa zina nene. I don't know what wanasema ati tumefanya fundraising wakati mbaya ati wakati pesa haikukua. Tukajaribu tu fundraising lakini azikuweza fikia hata nusu ile bila matakuota hiyo beli.
The family says that they are thankful and that come 18th of April, when Jeremy will turn 4 months, he will not be behind hospital walls, but at home where he belongs. Betty Kyalo, KTN.
Finally, a happy ending for baby Jeremy. Now, 4 people, among them a bishop, have died after consuming uninspected meat at Kenland's estate, still in Nakuru town. The deceased and 4 survivors are said to have suffered from food poisoning after eating what is famously known by locals as African sausage or mutura. KTN's Kamcha Menza has those details.
This is the street that hosts one of the butcheries said to have sold unfit mutura and soup to some of its clients. And as days went by, 4 among other customers were taken ill, but the 4 succumbed to the illness on Saturday, Sunday, and the last one on Monday. Bishop Tobias Guya of Church of Christ Africa is one of the deceased. His family says he complained of stomachache a few hours after consuming the meat.
Lakini kenye tunajua penya litapika ni kama acid, something of the sort. Juicy meat mpaka saini wai.
A number of the survivors who received treatment recount the events of the day.
Baada ya dakika kama 20 hivi nikasikia tumbo imeanza kuniuma. Nikauliza huyu jamaa mwenye kupika hii supu na mutura, mbona tumbo yangu imenisumbua namna hii na sijawahi kusikia hivi? Akaniambia leo hakuna kitu mbaya na hatuwezi kukupea kitu mbaya hapa. Lakini baadaye usiku kama mwendo wa saa 9 usiku hivi, mimi niliweza kuenda kujiharia kwa kitanda saa 9 usiku. Kitu ambayo mimi sijawahi kujua ni nini iliendelea.
Bila kustop sasa on Sunday ndio nilienda hospitali na nikapimwa, nikaonekana niko na food poisoning.
The meat is claimed to have been supplied from a cow that had been treated and died in Ronda Estate, Nakuru town, after displaying symptoms similar to those of anthrax disease. The County Health Minister, Dr. Kabi Mungai, said a post-mortem exam is being conducted with samples of the meat taken to government laboratories to establish the kind of poison. Another suspected meat seller, Wilfred Mbudia, was arrested in Nakuru town for selling unwholesome meat that was decomposing. The suspect was arraigned in a Nakuru court and slapped with a fine of 40,000 shillings. Kamche Menza, KTN, Nakuru County.
Let's bring you back to Nairobi as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission probes individuals in the corruption list of shame. The Commission on Administrative Justice is casting a dark shadow on the integrity of some members of the Anti-Corruption Commission. The Ombudsman Office has released a report indicting the EACC Vice Chairperson Irene Keino and Deputy Chief Executive Michael Mubea. The report indicates Keino aided Mubea to receive a salary not approved by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
Integrity at the Integrity Center is under scrutiny as the Commission questions high-ranking government officials perceived to have questionable integrity. The beleaguered EACC Deputy Chief Executive Michael Mubea is now being asked to refund 1.23 million shillings. A report by the Commission on Administrative Justice that investigated the Deputy CEO's contract at EACC indicates Mubea has been drawing a salary over and above that stipulated by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. The probe report indicates SRC recommended a gross salary of between 400,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings. But the deputy CEO has been earning 500,000 shillings as salary and 280,000 shillings monthly allowances for a period of 1 year in contravention of SRC circular. EACC's Vice Chairperson Irene Keino has been roped into the controversy. The report indicates upon hiring Mubea, he rejected a letter of offer that awarded him a salary ranging between 400,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings and an annual increment of 5% annually. A contract overseen by Keino and the then EACC Commissioner Jen Onsongo. But upon rejecting the contract, the report says Mubea negotiated directly with the Vice Chairperson for a higher salary and allowance. All the other commissioners at the Integrity Center were kept in the dark of the latest development. Mubea is equally accused of giving false information to the investigating officers. The deputy CEO is accused of claiming to have signed the renegotiated contract only. But on the contrary, the Ombudsman's office says a contract he reportedly rejected on account of low salary was actually signed on the same day he signed an upgraded contract. Mubea is not new to controversy at the EACC. The Commission's chair, Mumu Matemu, had suspended Mubea for 30 days over integrity issues. But the suspension was immediately revoked by the Commission's CEO, Halake Wako, as confusion at Integrity Center reigned supreme. Samugina, KTN.
At the same time, Budalangi lawmaker Ababu Namwamba has shared secret reports of the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee with detectives at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Namwamba says he expects the commission will move with speed and commence high-profile prosecution against individuals implicated in the PSA report.
And the dossier is a 2.9 billion shillings confidential expenditure in the Office of the President, for which suspended Defense Principal Secretary Mutea Ringo is being investigated, as well as the Hustlers jet.
For the very first time ever in the history of this country, we were able to open the so-called confidential expenditure to public scrutiny. And I believe the troubles in Park have a lot to do with this so-called confidential expenditure. We have gone through the details on this confidential expenditure. We have gone through the evidence and the findings of the committee, and we have also looked at the recommendations, which in my view provided the EACC with a very solid platform to take action. And this, together with other information that the EACC has, I believe that the Commission is in a very strong position to act. And really I'm challenging everybody, let us stop this talk. Let us start some action. And the action will start by seeing the EACC concluding this investigation swiftly within the 60 days that the President challenged them to do. And we must see action moving from the Integrity Center to the corridors of justice. Only then, I believe, will Kenyans believe that this is about action and not just mere rhetoric. The Hustlers Jet report, which I tabled in the House in April 2014, exactly 1 year ago, has never been debated in the House to date. This, for me, is an indictment on the leadership of the House, and it goes to show really that the problem we are grappling with is much deeper than merely sacrificing a committee of the House so that you can appear to be clean.
So tonight we continue the graft countdown. It is day 40. It has been 20 days since President Uhuru Kenyatta made that explosive corruption report by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to Parliament, also directing that all public officials or all officials adversely mentioned in that report step aside, and that those investigations be completed in the next 60 days. Well, it is day 40 today. Let's just take stock very quickly on what has happened. Of course, the principal secretaries as well as cabinet secretaries that were mentioned in that particular report have since been suspended, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has grilled some of them. 2 weeks ago, suspended Lands Secretary Charity Ngilu was grilled by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in day-long investigations or grillings by the EACC. Of course, she has been accused of irregularities in the land sector, of course, including that current land saga. Now, she did tell journalists after that grilling session that all 3 allegations that were leveled against her were baseless, and that there were powers that were trying to bring her down for what she called her cleanup of the land's dockets. Now, last Friday, suspended Labour Secretary Kazungu Kambi was also quizzed for 10 hours by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, although he did refuse to talk to the press after that. Still on the same day, Siaya Senator James Orengo was also quizzed for 4 hours by the EACC of course, irregularities in the land's docket when he was lands minister in the last regime. They did tell journalists after that session that he was only quizzed for over 1 piece of land that is in Mariboi Shopping Center in the county of Kericho, which he maintains belongs to his family. So it remains to be seen what happens on that front. Now, this week on Monday, suspended Chief of Staff in the Deputy President's office, Marianne Kitani, was also quizzed by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Not much information from that, but it was, of course, for the use of some 200 million Kenya shillings. On the same day, former Registrar of the Judiciary Gladys Sholei was also quizzed for, among other things, of course, for what happened, the things in the judiciary when she was the registrar, for, among other things, the purchase of the Chief Justice's residence and the petitioning of the Elgon Place, that is in Upper Hill here in Nairobi, to the Court of Appeal. She did accuse the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission after that they had failed to prove any violations of the law in all the allegations against her. Now, of course, yesterday suspended Kenya's High Commissioner to Tanzania, Chirau Ali Mokwere, was also quizzed for a few hours of irregular acquisition of houses belonging to the Kenya Railway Corporation. This happened in 2006. He says he was not a beneficiary of any of those houses. Still on the same day, yesterday, we have the 2.9 billion confidential expenditure scandal that we have just showed you with the bite from Ababu Namwamba, where the PSC, Public Accounts Committee, was suspended for extortion claims and corruption allegations and integrity questions. That is about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And yesterday, the PSC was disbanded following the adoption of a report by the Powers and Privileges Committee of the House. And of course, 5 members, that House leveled some punitive measures against 5 members of that committee, including the chairman, the former chairman, the chairman of the defunct team, that is Ababu Namwamba, also Cecily Mbarire. The 5 of them cannot be members of the new team that will be formed in the next 7 days. Cecily Mbarire, the member of parliament for Nyenjes, Ahmed Abbas, Ijara member of parliament, Cases MP James Bett, as well as Nyatike legislator Omondi Anyanga. Today, more developments on the same story. Now, another punitive measure against those 5 was to apologize on the floor of the House, which some of those members did, but Ababu Namwamba, the Budalangi MP and former chairman of that defunct team, refused to apologize over allegations he made, corruption allegations he made against other members of the Public Accounts Committee. So, Linda, that's where it stands. Day 40 of that particular process. Day 40,
and the war on graft is still alive.
Exactly. Of suspensions, but no major arrests.
With somehow, quote-unquote, a shadow hanging over the integrity of some members of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Of course, this raises very pertinent questions as well.
Exactly, and the plot will definitely thicken.
We'll keep an eye on it for our viewers. Thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Let's remind you of a big question tonight. We're focusing on the education sector. We're asking you, do you think Education Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kaimenyi should back down to avert a teachers' strike? Remember, NAT and KUPPET have been opposed to his regulations. They say they will call for industrial action. What are your thoughts on this?
Indeed, keep those SMSs and tweets coming. The number is 22155. The Twitter handles at Ben_Kitili, at Linda Ogutu, and at KTN.
Just hold on before we go for the break. Atvet says yes. Atvet says yes, you should allow all stakeholders come to a compromise or amicable decisions. Otherwise, the kids will suffer. At Vincent Mogire says principals must be held accountable too. I say nothing wrong with the rules myself. At Kibet, Andrew says chest thumping will not help Kaimenyi. Should read the mood of the teachers. Please please give dialogue a chance. So those are just some of your opinions on a big question tonight on whether or not you think Education Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kaimenyi should back down. Of course, we will keep an eye on your tweets and your feedback.
Indeed. For now, we take a quick break, but don't go too far. We'll be back shortly. This is KTN Prime.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. Now, frantic search for a stolen vehicle in Nairobi ended dramatically today when the owner and police tracked it to a home that allegedly had 7 other stolen cars.
Timothy Otieno has details of that.
Police have recovered this white lorry that was stolen in Gilgil. The lorry that had a tracking device was retraced to a compound in Ruai, and its discovery has opened up a well-hidden syndicate that has left officers here tongue-tied.
We have been on pursuit. We join all the resources and personnel possible from the flying squad. We have the crime prevention units, the OSPD, we join hands of the DSIP and the EACC 0, and we were able to trace the vehicle.
Along with the lorry were 7 other vehicles that had been reported missing over the past few months.
Kuna wamama wawili walikuwa wanapita barabara. So wakati walikuwa wanapita barabara, I slow down. Ku slow down, almost ku stop, kuna mwanaume alikuwa amewafuata. Kanambia hata mimi wacha nipite. So sasa alikuwa anakuja, instead ya kupita mbele ya gari, akakuja kwa mlango wa gari yangu. But that kioo ilikuwa half. Alikuwa na gun. So he pointed gun kwangu.
The lorry that went missing on the 10th of April in a town miles away from the capital had its number plates changed. The police have arrested 3 suspects who are found manning the compound. Among the vehicles recovered were 2 Toyota Shark vans as well as various car parts and number plates. The 3 will be arraigned in court Thursday. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Now, if you live along Mombasa, you'll especially identify with this next story. Motorists and pedestrians are asking Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero to keep the major roundabouts open next week. Nairobi residents who today woke up to free flow of traffic in some sections on Mombasa and Uhuru highways expressed their joy of spending less time on the roads. Najma Ismail was following that for us.
Today's free flow of traffic has brought some measure of reprieve following the reopening of the Bunyala and Lusaka Road roundabouts upon the closure of the southern bypass for carpeting to enable trucks use the new roads to decongest city roads.
Sasa baada ya hizo madrums kutolewa, traffic iko nzuri kabisa, hakuna shida, kwa hivyo zitolewe kabisa.
Leo tunaona tuna flow vizuri, na ile kitu tungeomba ni at least serikali itafute binu nyingine, lakini hii ya kufunga tunaona inaadhiri wengine.
The 4-day nightmare meant to reduce traffic on Nairobi roads was seen by some Kenyans as an epic fail that ended up causing more harm than good. However, the current reprieve is only short-lived and the nightmare will be back to haunt motorists once the southern bypass is complete and open for business come Monday next week.
We are not, let me repeat, we are not abandoning the decongestion program. We are just doing a tweak so as to relieve pressure on Lusaka and Bunyala.
Roho iko poa, inafaa hata iwe hivyo. Sijui hata walikuwa wamefuga za nini. Si unaona ina move. Sasa kutoka huko Bereview hata Airtel kufika hapa nimekuja within 5 minutes. Jana the same time kama leo. Nilikuja hapa sijui 2 hours.
And as the county government remains adamant on letting the roundabout stay, the governor has called for patience, saying a comprehensive study was done by the national and county government before the closure of right turns on major roundabouts in Nairobi. Najma Ismail, KTN.
Good evening, I'm Joy Doreen Bira. Let's take a look at tonight's business. Safaricom is in the final stretch of migrating its M-Pesa platform hosted in Germany to Kenya. The telecom company today announced the new platform that will give the money transfer service greater flexibility to add new products. Safaricom is banking on the new platform, which goes live by the end of April, to tighten its iron grip in the country's lucrative mobile money industry. Bigger capacity to accommodate a growing number of subscribers on Safaricom's M-Pesa servers has been a challenge for the lead telecom since the inception of the mobile money transfer service. Safaricom, that has hosted M-Pesa's servers in Germany for 8 years, has in the last 18 months been installing an advanced version in Kenya as it seeks faster transactions, improved stability and better functionality for its customers.
We've had a lot of interest from local developers who want to maybe partner with and use the M-Pesa platform to enhance the current services that they're offering.
Safaricom, which boasts of 19 million users and 81,000 agents on the M-Pesa platform, believes locally hosting its servers will save on costs that will instead be used for maintenance as opposed to paying fees to British telecommunications firm Vodafone. The current M-Pesa platform handles up to 450 transactions per second, but after migration, the rate is expected to go up to 900 transactions per second.
G2 will allow us more flexibility in developing these solutions and makes it possible to go to market faster.
Safaricom has been upgrading its M-Pesa platform since 2013 in partnership with IT infrastructure giants IBM and Huawei, and the company now states that the system is ready for deployment. The new M-Pesa system is further expected to allow the mobile service provider introduce new services, at the same time increase its integration with partners such as banks and utility companies. M-Pesa has been a cash cow for the telecom operator, generating in excess of 15.6 billion shillings in revenue from the money transfer service during the first 6 months of its 2014-2015 financial year. The new upgrade, however, comes at a time when Safaricom is facing an onslaught from an influx into the market by several service providers eager to get a slice of the pie. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Business. The Communications Authority has opened up a recruitment process for the position of Director General. Francis Wangusi, who currently holds the position, is expected to reapply for the post as his contract expires in June. Wangusi was appointed in 2012, taking over from Charles Njoroge, whose contract was not renewed in 2011 by the board for what it termed as poor performance. In an advertisement in the dailies, the Communications Authority board says the appointment to the position will be on a 4-year contract renewable basis based on satisfactory performance. And now a look at more business. The future of Kenya's sugar industry is far from sweet, as a report by the Parliamentary Committee for Agriculture, Livestock and Cooperatives reveals that 5 state-owned sugar millers are running a debt of up to 100 billion Kenya shillings. Now, the 5 sugar companies owe the said funds to key stakeholders in the industry, among them farmers and the government. KTN's Charles Gitonga takes a look at how the debt status is affecting recovery efforts in the sector.
Mismanagement, illegal importation, low quality of cane and old technology are just but a few of the words used to describe the local sugar industry. In their report of the crisis in the sector, Parliament's Committee on Agriculture highlighted that Chemelil, Miwani, Nzoia, Nyanza and Muhoroni companies are running a combined debt of 100 billion shillings, a factor that will hamper their recovery if a bailout doesn't happen. Nzoia's debt is 37 billion shillings, Miwani 28 billion shillings, Muhoroni 27 billion shillings, Chemelil 5 billion and Nyanza 3 billion shillings. The money is owed to key industry stakeholders such as the government, farmers, Kenya Sugar Board and banks.
This is almost becoming like a bad debt because you have an industry which owes a lot of money to its stakeholders, including farmers, who are actually the most vulnerable of that group. Farmers don't insure their debts, for instance. You might find that the bank which owed money, which lent money probably insured their credit product or their credit facility. But for the farmer, probably it wasn't insured. So they're the most vulnerable group within that group of stakeholders who money is owed to.
But Parliament's radical proposal to inject an estimated 58 billion shillings into the millers doesn't appear to be a well-calculated move.
Validly, government should pay greater attention to the industry and to think critically about how to salvage the situation, not necessarily through writing off their debts or cash injections. I think whatever solution that is thought of has to be sustainable.
The 8-year-old talk to privatize the government-owned millers is yet to see light of day, with a heavy debt burden making them unattractive to investors.
Can farmers today be able to buy out a company if it were privatized? Obviously not. There are people who are much more, have the financial capability than farmers to buy such companies should they be privatized. So we have to think of a way of, getting farmers in, getting them to actually own a piece of the pie.
The fear for the sugar sector is that an open market could cripple the industry. The government lobbied for a 1-year extension of the COMESA safeguards, but observers fear it could be too late to salvage the sector's fortunes. Charles Gitonga, KTN Business.
And now on to our weekly segment, The Adventurer. Kenya's textile industry used to contribute 30% of the country's total manufacturing output in the 1980s, but the liberalization of the sector and subsequent closure of major ginneries saw this shrink to just 3.2% to the gross domestic product today. Nevertheless, the sector is still able to support some businesses, among them Blackjack Jeans. On this week's episode of The Adventurer, KTN's Charles Gitonga speaks to an entrepreneur who has found a niche in making customized jeans.
It takes bravery to be an entrepreneur in Kenya's textile industry, which has for many years been suppressed by cheap imports of second-hand clothes, commonly known as mitumbas. Today, we speak to Andrew Kio, the founder of Blackjack Jeans, whose label has been fighting hard to get a share of the Kenyan market. Thank you, Andrew. Tell us about Blackjack Jeans.
Blackjack Jeans is a leader in custom-made jeans, and we usually make stuff out of jeans. There's nothing we don't make out of jeans. Dresses, skirts, bags, anything, but mostly specialize on trousers. It started back when I was in college. I think I was a skinny boy, a skinny man rather, and I couldn't find jeans that fitted me. So I was a regular to this market to get jeans. And so after college, I decided to venture in it. That is like 8 years ago. Actually, after wearing so many new jeans made from here, people started asking where I get my jeans from. And I told them I have a place where I'm made for jeans. But they wouldn't come all the way to Jericho to get their jeans done. So I offered to give that service. Someone loved what I was wearing, so I made a suit for someone. What he did is I sold the suit to him at 3,000 shillings. He gave me a deposit of 1,500, which I gave my seamster. And when I delivered the cloth, I was given another 1,500. And it was just within a week. And I realized that was like 8 years ago. So I've made like 1,000+ shillings from one suit. I started saving from there. That is how I started. Yeah, there is no money from external places like banks or anything, or any angel investor, no one. So basically, this is where we make our jeans from. And I say jeans because it is our main product. We get our materials from guys who import them from mostly India, China, and they are also found within the market. My market has been growing. They realize Blackjack also does jeans for a few companies like KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So, and they spread the word. We have a lot of walk-ins, and also I have product ambassadors like celebrities who wear jeans, and they also help. They actually help me in getting more guys coming. When I compare Blackjack to other labels within the market, I can say we are all growing. Yeah, because the market for jeans, I'm not sure we can meet the market of jeans, just the few guys who make jeans in the country. And that is why there are mitumbas. And but I can say Blackjack is, as a label, it is growing, and it is a leader in custom-made jeans. There's a lot of jeans being imported, yes, and there's a lot of mitumba. And the other good thing is there are also a lot of people who want custom-made jeans. And if you keenly research in the market, the imported clothes are usually between 30 and 38. So there are actually people who are not catered. There are those really skinny ones, and there are those really big ones. The main challenge is at blackjack, and I believe in every other business, is capital. Yes, blackjack, I realize the machineries are not cheap. They're expensive. And to make a complete jeans, you'd require more than 15 machines. See, I don't have all the 15 machines, but I improvise a lot. And by improvising, I need skillful guys. Another challenge is the imported jeans, because our production cost is usually very high. Then our selling price is usually higher than the imported ones. But in terms of lasting, you see, our jeans actually last longer, yeah, unlike the imported ones, because some of the materials are weak materials, and I can assure you, most of that stuff that is imported, you could say 60–70% of it, they are rejects that they can be fixed within our market and then sold to our market. Yeah.
I leave you by the words of Napoleon Hill. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. Charles Gitonga for The Adventurer.
And that's it for business. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Good night.
It's time for KTN Sports. I'm Lynn Washira. We kick off the bulletin in matters football, where Jacob Kelly grabbed a brace as AFC Leopards moved up to 4th position on the Kenya Premier League table as they emerged winners over KCB at the Nyayo National Stadium. In another Kenya Premier League clash, KRA beat Mathare United 2-1, while defending champions Gor Mahia thrashed City Stars 3-0.
Nyayo Stadium, fresh from getting a Britam facelift cash injection, hosted a mid-table clash between Mathare United and tax collectors Ushuru. Mathare was first off the blocks in the opening exchanges and was rewarded as Noah Beach put the Slum Boys ahead through a penalty minutes before the breather. In the second half, KRA came back a rejuvenated side, and 2 minutes later, Alan Kitagera slotted in the equalizer. KRA resurgence continued as they grabbed their second goal of the match through an Erasto Ndege penalty. The tax collectors hope Wednesday's result will be the incentive the side needed as they look to cage the Leopards in their next fixture.
I give my players credit for that win, because it was a struggle, but we were to come back after conceding a goal that it wasn't a genuine penalty. So I think God was to assist us in this game, and I thank God that we have won the match.
First half, it was a great game for us. We played well, but second half, I can say that we gave it away.
Zdravko Logarusic charges AFC Leopard thumped KCB 3-1 at the Nyayo National Stadium. Ingwe took the lead in the 35th minute when Jacob Kelly opened the scoring. Jacob Kelly grabbed his second in the second half before Dunga Kari made it beyond the bunker's reach. KCB's consolation came from a Raymond Murogoi penalty. In other matches of the day, defending champions Gor Mahia thrashed City Stars 3-0 as Bandari emerged 1-0 winners over Tusker. Sofapaka claimed a 1-0 win over Chemelil in Machakos. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
And Sports Cabinet Secretary Dr. Hassan Wario has supported the move by Athletics Kenya to suspend the Rosa and Associate and Volare sports management companies for 6 months to pave way I beg your pardon, for investigations on their role in the increased doping cases in the country.
Kuna kidole kimekulenga wewe kama mhusika katika mambo ya kutumia madawa ambayo hayakubaliwi ili ushinde ama ili wahakikishe kwa wanariadha wanashinda kwa kudanganya. Wewe na wanariadha wote hatutafanya kazi nawe. Kwa hivyo Athletics Kenya imeanza na wawili, lakini mimi natumai watakuwa wengi zaidi ya wawili. Maana tulikutana na hawa watu karibu miezi miwili zimepita. Na kauli yetu kama nchi, kama serikali ni kusema kuwa hatutakubali katika nchi hii yetu ya Kenya kuwa na makochi ama wanariadha ambao wanatumia madawa ambazo hazikubaliwi, alafu mwisho yanaleta aibu kwa nchi yetu, na mwisho itakuja iathiri sekta ya riadha ambayo ni sekta muhimu sana katika nchi.
And Maseno School thrashed fancied Alliance High School 52-30 in boys basketball to revive their title hopes after a false start as the Brookside National Secondary School games entered second day at the Nakuru Boys High School.
Kenya Secondary School Sports Association highlights an association with Brookside Dairies. Brookside, nurturing sporting talent and academics.
Maseno lost at 3-41 in the opening match yesterday to Upper Hill from Metropolitan, who in a class of their own amid stiff opposition from Alliance, who won the first quarter 12-9. After losing the first quarter, Coach Paul Otula called for several timeouts as he tried to rejuvenate the side's dwindling fortunes that seemed to pay dividends with a convincing 22-7 win in the second quarter. Alliance made a comeback in the third quarter to reduce the losing margin to 8-6 with their point guards Mageto Stensa and Christopher Onyancha doing the donkey work. Metropolitan's Upper Hill tops Pool B with 6 points from 2 matches, having beaten Wajir High School 89-16 and have a match against Alliance High School on Thursday.
The game was tight. They were up and we needed to do something to change the game. And I'm happy that the boys followed the instructions and the game changed up to the end until we emerged as the winners.
Alliance High School coach Nicholas Ndege complained of poor officiating.
The referees need to up their game. Some of the calls were dubious. They were either, I don't know if it was a sheer incompetence or I will just say like that.
In rugby, Simoto lost to Maseno School 38. Leather Hill thumped Alliance High School 54-0, while Menengai High School were 25-5 victors over St. George's. Hassan Juma, KTN Sports.
Right, so thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Let's look at our big question before we wind this up. Our big question tonight, you're asking if you think Education Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kamenyi should back down to avert a teachers' strike.
That is the poll on your screen. Irene Boru says the teachers cannot keep threatening like that. Do they even think about the children who suffer the most?
Ajay Gitura says if Sosion and Muzo are interested in politics, they should leave their office.
Kiama Kar says Sosion should drop the theatrics. Consultations is not concurrent substance, not rhetoric.
At Pichelimo says, why does he want to supervise teachers? There are other officers who can handle such issues.
And Chap Reloaded on Twitter says it is not a threat, we will have a face-off with them. Do they know strikes affect performance?
Finally, Kiamakara says a nation running on threats, if his policy is sensible and right, stick to your guns, Professor.
Thank you for your thoughts, for your tweets, for your SMSs, and many thanks for joining us on this edition of KTN Prime. I'm Ben Kitili.
We'll see you tomorrow. Sleep well. I'm Linda.
Remember, Jeff Koinange Live begins shortly.